Hey, welcome to this workout on power chords. If you haven't yet, go ahead and download the PDF for this time. The link is in the YouTube description there. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz from Guitar Gathering, your place for nuts and bolts guitar learning. And tonight we're going to be working out, I hope you have your guitar with you, we're going to be working out some power chords. So take a look at the PDF. We're going to be working through this together. And I play guitar professionally here in Nashville and work hard to try and give the real nuts and bolts, the real concepts of guitar playing. So if you've got your guitar and you've got the download, let's get going. Power chords. Okay, you hear them talked about a lot in guitar circles. Well, what are they? There is a guitar lesson that goes along with this on how to play power chords. That link is going to be in the YouTube description as well. So some of the concepts you can find in that. But we'll just kind of briefly go over them and then we'll start playing together. Power chords, if you remember, are a chord of 2 notes. Now, usually chords have 3 notes, but we're going to take out that third of the 1, 3, and 5 and just left with 1s and 5s, roots and fifths. And we end up with this kind of two-voiced chord. If I add a little bit of distortion with that, I get this good old power chord, aggressive rock and roll sound. If you look at the middle of page 1, you'll see that there's a 2-finger version and a 3-finger version. Now, that note that has a diamond around it, that is the root of the chord, and that's movable, so we move that around. So if you skip over, okay, I'm sorry to have you skip there, but we have had things and we had some questions about this. Skip over to page 3, and it says the notes on the 5th and 6th string. So let's just go through together the notes on the 5th and 6th strings. That's where a lot of these bar chords are based, or power chords are based off of. So let's go through these together. Ready? On the 6th string, that's an open E. Then the 1st fret is an F. You play them with me. Say and play with me. What's the 3rd fret? G. The 5th fret is an A. The 7th fret is a B. Then there's only a half step between B and C. The 8th fret is a C. The 10th fret is an D. The 12th fret is an E, just like it would be open. The double dot on your guitar. Okay, those are the notes on your 6th string. So if I played power chords with those, let's do that, maybe that 2-fingered F with that root there. Now let's do a two-fingered G. Ready? Now let's do a 2-fingered A power chord. What about a B power chord? The 7th fret, 8th fret for the C, 10th fret for the D, and then way up here is the 12th fret, the E. Okay? Now, what if we did a 3-fingered power chord? Okay, you do it with me. Okay? Let's do an F. Ready? F. All right. Now we go to G. Now we go to A. Now we go to B. Half step up for C. We're pivoting off of this 1st finger note right there. D, and then high E. Go back down backwards. Okay, so here's E. Now go back down to D, C, B, A, G, F, E. All right, well, the open power chord there. Okay, so that's what it is on the 6th string. All right, so sorry to get off on that. The 5th string, if you look the next page, the 5th string has those notes too, and these power chords still work on the 5th string. So take a look at the page 4, the top diagram there. These are the notes on the 5th string. So let's go through these for a second, okay? We have open A. Then let's just do maybe a 2-finger power chord on the B, okay? Same shape as it was on the 6th string, okay? There's B, then C, remember a half step up, Then everything else is 2 frets up. D, E, half step between B and C, half step between E and F. So here's F at the 8th fret, an F power chord, a G power chord at the 10th, an A power chord at the 12th. Remember exactly what it would be, the open string, okay? All right, so we've learned the power chords on the 6th string and the notes and power chords on the 5th string. All right, so now go back. Sorry to keep you jumping there. Back to page 1, and let's look at these forms. We've already done the 6-string root 1 with the 2-string version and the 3-string version. The 5th string 1 is pivoting off of the 5th string 1st finger, okay, same as the others. There's B. Now we can also do these power chords on other strings as well. So if we did them on the 4th string, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's an E right there. That shape is a little bit different than the other 2 previous ones, so you got to really stretch that pinky out. 1st finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. 3rd finger on the 3rd string, 4th fret. And then pinky on the 2nd string, 5th fret. Big stretch out. Okay? That's the shape when you have a power chord that's based on the 4th string. Let's go to the 3rd string one. Okay? If I have my 1st finger on this 3rd string, 2nd fret, A. Way over here at the 5th fret, I'm going to bar with my pinky 2 strings. And I end up with an A, an E, and an A. In the key of A, that would be the root, the 5th, and then another root. So it doesn't matter how many roots and 5ths you have. You'll have multiple octaves of these by the time we're done. But, or you can just have the root and 5th, but you can have many octaves of it. Okay? Now, what this workout is going to get you through is we're going to teach you these main power chord forms, the open forms, the movable forms, and then we're also going to go through some pretty classic rock interpretations of these so you can hear them in action, show you some inverted power chords along the way. So we're going to cover just about all the main uses of power chords that I do, as well as some of my favorite licks that we go through. All right, flip the page. This is page 2. Page 2. All right, we've done the movable forms with the roots on the 5th, or the 6th string, the 5th string, the 4th string, and the 3rd string. Now, we also have open forms. Now, these open forms involve open strings. Now, the power chord itself is really just the 2, the root and the 5th. Now, you can add an octave. You don't have to, but you can. I can add another 5th. I can add, add a whole mess of them in different octaves, but it's all just roots and 5ths. So you just see, so I can do 2 notes of it. I could do 6 strings of it. Okay, so take a look at the open forms there. These are some of the great open forms you're going to need to know and have in your arsenal, your tool bag of guitar. Look at that first open E5. Kind of the bottom half of, let's say, an E minor or an E7th. Okay, now part of these power chords is there is no middle third, minor third or a major third. There is no third, it's just roots and 5ths. So these can be substituted equally well for major chords or minor chords because it doesn't have a third. So there's an E. If I switch my fingers around, maybe bar that 1st finger here at the 2nd fret, then I have lots of B's and E's. E, B, E, B, E. I could even, if I get my hand up high enough, I can have that open E in there. How many B's and E's can I have at the same time? Okay, but do you see it's all, whether it's this or this, it's still just 2 different pitches. Okay, the A5. Let's talk about that 5. How power chords are notated in music is you're going to see oftentimes it written as a 5. Just like you would see a C7 or a D9 or something like that. If you see a something 5, that's indicating they're wanting a power chord, this root and 5th, no third chord. If I did it in A, open, second and third finger. I could bar with my first finger in some situations. You're going to need to do that. Like look at the fourth block, chord block over there. There I bar it, and I add the two upper octaves as well. So I have A, E, A, E, A. Now you'll notice, just listen to that. It's a very open sound. Add a little distortion to that. Very open sound. Now you'll notice if I add the third, it works as well, but it kind of clutters the sound up a little bit. So that's what's so great about these power chords is that open sound that you can get with them. Okay. What do we have next? We have a D5. Okay, these are just some open forms that you're going to run across a lot. The D5, you have an open D, first finger on the A, second finger on this D, the second string, third fret. You could do it, with your second, third finger as well. Different musical one way's not right or wrong. Different musical situations are going to require you to do different things. So that's what that one is. Now you'll notice there's X's on these other ones. So how do I play that? Well, a lot of times for power chords, I almost have to kind of choke down a little bit on my playing to where I'm just playing those specific strings. If I was going to strum, let's say that, I have to really tighten it up. So I can't go, or I'm going to get all these other strings in there. Now, look at that last one there. This is a G5. I thought I would throw this one in there. Great chord. Great chord. Add a little distortion with that. Man, great. If I want to sound edgy, if I want to sound aggressive, a little powerful, I lay that G on them rather than this. Do you hear how that sounds very different? This is more pointed and more open sounding. Okay, so those are the open forms, the common open forms. There's a few other ones, but that's the ones you're going to need to know a lot. All right, this next batch, these inverted forms, okay, just like a power chord is a root and a fifth. Let's say if we were in the key of C, it'd be a C to a G. Well, if I add another octave to that, then it becomes C, G, C. Okay? Well, if I just do G and C, that ends up actually being an interval of a fourth. G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So fourths and fifths are kind of brothers of each other. They're just the same interval flipped. If I'm going from a C to a G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a fifth. If I go from a G to a C, it's a fourth, okay? So fourths and fifths are brothers of each other. They're just the same interval, flipped. So this is some inverted power chord. So instead of the root being as the lowest note, the root is now going to be, we're going to put it in the middle. So take a look at this first one. This is a B power chord. Notice the root, that diamond, is now on the middle tone, which is a great open sound. You play that with me. If I do an E5, what do I have? The next one. It sounds a little bit different from the other one with all those fifths in there, but it's just a variation of it. The A5. So now instead of root, fifth, root, it's fifth, root, fifth. And then the last one, a D5 down here. There's the D. All right, I'm going to skip the double stops for just a minute, and I'm going to need you to turn the page over to, let's go to, this is page 4, and we're going to go to the upper part of the page where it says, let's practice and learn. You ready? We're going to jump on these power chords together. We're going to practice first the jumping of them. Okay, so we learn the notes on the 6th string, We've learned the notes in the 5th string. Now we're going to jump on those. And we're going to jump on them just to challenge you a little bit further. We're going to jump on them in a different order than you would typically do. So we're going to do these 6th string ones first. You could choose whether you do a 2-string or a 3-string one. I don't care. But we're going to start out on a G. And just for our purposes now, we're going to do this rhythm. You do that with me. It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now if you're doing 3 strings, I'm doing all downstrokes. Just sounds a little bit punchier. Now go to a C. Ready? 1, 2, find the C. Same thing, go. We'll do 4 of these. Now we're going to go to an F. An F. Find the F, N. Right down here at the 1st fret. The next one's a B flat. B flat. There's B flat. Next one is a D sharp. D sharp, so that's the 11th fret over here. 1, 2, D sharp, ready, go. Good. Now let's go to an A flat, ready. 1, 2, A flat, and find it, N. We're just jumping around on these forms. What's next? D flat, jump, D flat, go. You should be up here at the 9th fret. A flat. No, I'm sorry, I skipped the wrong one. We're gonna go to F sharp. Let's go to F sharp. 2, go ready, go. F sharp, 2nd fret. Next one's a B. Find that B, and ready, go. Now E. I can go open. Let's go open. A's next, N. Last one, D, 10th fret. All right. It goes on and gives you 2 more challenges there of jumping around on these chords. Particularly, let's do a little bit of the 3rd one. Practice challenge number 3. We're going to find it on these bar or power chords on the 6th string and the 5th string. Okay? I don't care which ones you find first. Let's do, or just for our purposes, I'm going to shout out the key. We're going to start off on a G. And we're going to play our little lick. And then we're going to jump to the high G. So we'll do 2 low and then 2 to the 5th string power chord. Ready? 6th string starts first. 1, 2, G, ready, and go. And do it again. Now the 5th string G, way up here at the 10th fret. Back down to the low G. Now the upper G. The upper G. Hey, let's go to an E. E, ready, go. The upper E. Back down to the lower E. There you go. Good job. Now, there's other ones. There's an E there, an E there, an E there. So there's other ones as well, but just realize that get practice jumping from low to high. All right, so let's get some practice moving these around. So take a look at that first power chord practice exercise, middle of page 4, exercise 1. Okay, this is we're going to start off on an A5, okay, power chord. I don't care whether you do a 2 or 3 string version, it generally doesn't tell you that in the music. I have written out here in the little chord diagram the 3 string version if you want to try that. Okay, and look at that, we're doing our same rhythm, down, up. Now that next measure, it switches to a G, but you see that little 2 dots and a slash? That just means repeat what's going on. Repeat the same measure. So that means I don't have to write out the rhythm the whole time. It just says repeat the same rhythm you did in the first measure. Just change the chord. Okay, so here we go. Do that. This is the power chord practice, exercise 1. Nice and slow. Practice is just moving around. 1 and 2 and ready, play, and. Then scoot down to G. Same rhythm. Down to F sharp, just down a half step. Then 3 on F and 3 on E. E. Then we go back to A. Rest. Then F sharp. Come on, you can do it. 2 and F, or 3 and F. E. Okay, we're going to do that one again. A little bit faster now. You ready? Starts on the A. 1 and 2 and down strokes. Ready, go. Then to G, and you got to play them with a little bit of an attitude. Then a 2, 3 on F. We're going to repeat it. A little bit faster. F sharp. F. A little bit faster. One more time, a little bit faster. All right, hey, do you recognize that old Chicago song there? I believe it's 25 or 624, if I remember right. That's the opening lick from that. See, all of these power chords are just everywhere in these classic rock songs. I think it's 25 or 624, if I remember right, the title of that song. Take a look at the next one. Okay, exercise 2. All right, now here, I took away your chord diagrams. I want you to just remember what the shape is by looking just at the the letter name. Okay, so this one starts on a G, and then we're going to go to a C, then we're going to go to a D, and look at this, we're combining 6th and 5th strings. So we got the low G, then we have C, which is right underneath it on the 5th string, scoot up 2 frets for the D, then back 2 frets for the C, and that's the rhythm. Okay, so we're going to start real slow. This is that opening riff from the 1963, way back there, Louie Louie. Okay, that's the song. This is the opening riff for that by the Kingsmen, but we're going to start real slow, and then we'll get to the Louie Louie tempo here in a second. Let's do it real slow. Don't, don't, don't. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. You slow it down even a little bit further. Slow it down. And rest. Do it again. Got a big quick shifts. Good. Now remember, if I'm going a little bit too fast for you, you can always go back and run through this workout again. Now remember, when you do it on the replay, you can hit that little gear icon in YouTube that has the, you can change the speeds. Once you hit that at the lower right hand of your screen, you can change the speed. And so you can get down to 75% or even 50%. And it'll still sound pretty good, but it slows it down to where you can practice it. Let's try this one more time and then we'll speed it up. Ready? 1 and 2 and exercise 2 and. Now a C. D. I'm doing all downstrokes. All the same shape. Do it again. You notice my hand stays in the shape. It just shifts to the strings. That's a little bit of secret. Do it a little bit faster. A little bit faster. There you go. Now, this is rock and roll, okay? So you'll notice I'm throwing a little bit of extra. All these little, extra little strums in there just to kind of help keep the rhythm going. So this rock and roll, you can stretch the interpretation a little bit there. All right, so take a look at the top of page 5. In exercise 3, okay, now we're going to do 2-finger power chords instead of the 3-finger ones. We're going to go back to 2-finger ones. And this is from the 1964 British rock hit, You Really Got Me by the Kinks. You really got me. Da, 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 da. That song, okay? This is from that. Now, we're not going to start that fast. We're going to start a little bit slower, okay? So it starts off with this pickup note on this F5. So you're using the 1st finger and the 3rd finger. And again, I'm doing all downstrokes. I'm kind of muting because that sounds a little fun on power chords. Just the muting. All of these are getting that edgy sound. Okay, so you're going to be sliding. This is a good one to practice, keeping the same shape as you're moving up and down. Okay, so I don't put my hand down and then try and reform it all. I just have the pressure on, take the pressure off, scoot it over, put the pressure back on. Okay, so we're going to go. So just practice with me. Don't worry about that rhythm just yet. We're going to go back and forth from the F to the G. Ready? Go F, G, back to F, back to G. Let's do 2 Fs and 2 Gs. G, 2 Fs, 2 Gs. Hey, let's slide up from the F to the G. Can you do that? Where you hit one and then slide to the other. Try that. Now, if I accidentally hit that 4th string, my 3rd finger here, he's hitting that 2nd or that 5th string note, but his little rear end, that little fleshy part, is touching that 4th string. So just in case I do accidentally hit that 4th string, it's muted out because my 3rd finger's already kind of angled down just slightly. That's a little trick. Okay, so we're going to go. So try that. You're moving up and then back. Da, 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 da. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. A little bit faster here. Can you slide? All power chords. Good job. Good job. Okay, take a look at the next one. This is the 4th exercise there of our power chord practice. And now we're going to show you how you can use these inverted power chords to work with the regular power chords. It works great if you're going from like a 1 chord to a 4 chord. If I'm in the key of C, that would be the C chord, to an F chord, a very common progression. And if I wanted to use power chords, well, if I did all root position ones, then I'd have to do a lot of jumping. I gotta go maybe low. Still a lot of jumping, but if I invert that 1, that F, then look what happens. All I have to do is take my 3rd finger off, bar my 1st finger, and I've got it. And I'm just going back and forth. So let's say if I do 3 C's, and then maybe 5 F's. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. You just do that with me. Do it again, do it again. Maybe I can kind of even emphasize that F. Good. Look at the last measure. Just to vary it up, I throw a B flat and an F in there. Here's a B flat. And then to the low F. So the last measure is 3 B flats. Then I go back to this low F there. Okay, so take a look at that. I'm going to check my tuning here real quick. These Les Pauls are notorious for having problems keeping them in tune. And so that's one of the hazards of these Les Pauls. They're great, but they're tough little animals to keep in tune. Okay, you ready? So here we go. Let's play exercise 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we do that again. And here comes that B flat and F. Do it again, back to C. B flat to F. Do it again, faster. Hey, just for fun, let me turn on my delay here. Okay, so I'm going to turn on my delay. I'm just doing 8th notes. Crank up my effect a little bit. Do you hear the repeats? Okay, so I'm going to do the same exercise again. Okay, I'm going to crank this up a little bit more so you can even hear the repeats a little bit better. 1 and 2 and same thing. Ready, go. B flat. Do it again, do it again. Okay, now I'm going to switch my delay time to be not 8s, but dotted 8s. So it's going to be the rhythm. Let's hear how that sounds. So here's our tempo again. 1 and 2, same thing, and ready, go. Okay, so that kind of clutters it up. It's so that it helps on this type of rhythm to have an 8th note based delay. So there's just a little trick there. Now on other things, when you get to the dotted quarter, we'll get to slower type rhythm, and you'll hear how that 8th dotted thing really makes a cool effect. Okay, so that's that. Exercise 5. Couple more, and then we're going to play a couple of licks and get out of here. Exercise 5. Now we're going to do the same sort of a thing, power chords with the inverted, but we're going to do the upper ones, okay? Remember this high A? And then we're going to go to that D. And then just for something different, I'm going to bar that first finger and to where I have an A with a C sharp in it. So I start off with a power chord, I go to an inverted power chord, and then I end up with a related A. So it sounds like this. These are the 3 chords. the D, the A, back to the D, back to the A, back to the D, back to the A, back to the D. Okay, now we're going to do same sort of a rhythm where we do 3 on the first one, then we're going to do 4 on the second one, then we're going to do this A. So we're just moving back and forth. So the rhythm, listen to it one time and then you try and play it with me. So listen to it first. 1 and 2 and I'll play it. Ready, go. So I'm kind of anticipating each one of these. You try and play it with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's pretty cool as it is. So if I add, so I'm going to change my delay here. So now I've got that dotted 8th thing happening, okay, and I'm just playing 8th notes, but my delay is going in dotted 8ths, so you get this overlapping of the delays. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Do you hear how the delays are overlapping? Okay, now instead of muting these down, I'm going to open them up. If I crank that delay up even a little bit more, we get this sort of a U2 sort of a sound. 1 and 2. You play it with me and. And all of this wash that is happening there. Okay, so just some little cool things you can do. All right, flip the page, flip the page. Come on, let's get to some fun stuff. All right, hey, look at this. This is top of page 6. This one, this little lick here, rolling power chords, has paid my mortgage. Okay, so this one is so important. I'm going to put on a clean sound here. Let me show you how this one works. It looks a little bit more complicated. Let me turn my delay down. It looks a little bit more complicated than it is. Here's the lick. Let me just play it for you first. It has this little hammer on to this open D inverted form. So I'm playing almost a finger style sort of thing. I still have my pick, but I'm using kind of a hybrid technique there. Okay, you try it with me. You try it with me. Ready? We're going to go slow. 1 E and ready, go, and hammer on. Sorry. Sorry, here we go now. Now we do the hammer on. Now as I speed that lick up, do you see how it's just a power chord? But the beauty of it is, as I play over different progressions, this same little lick, all I need to know is the key, and I just get to the key. We're in the key of D, so I'm going to put that as the root, and I'll play my little lick. So I'm going to play a little progression. Okay, I'm going to play a little progression in here, and then we're going to do this. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's the G, A, D, okay, so here's my progression, and now I'm going to put this little lick with it. Okay, so let me add a little chorus, maybe a little delay. You hear how just that, it just creates a cool little guitar part. So everybody goes, oh my goodness, wow, that's just playing us this super guitar part. It's just that power chord, and I'm wobbling back. I don't even care what the chords are. This is just going to fit over everything. That little idea, that little lick there, has put food on my table, has paid for my mortgage more than once, okay? Learn that little rolling power chord lick. And you can wobble on, you can wobble off for it, and over these various chords, and it gets a great sound, okay? All right, so let's do a couple of power chord riffs. All right, so here's where we're going to kick this thing up a little bit. All right, so just hang on. We're going to go, first of all, we're going to do this lick at the bottom of page 6. Okay, I had to go all the way back to 1977, Cat Scratch Fever. Wow, Ted Nugent, way back when, to find a classic lick. All right, so let me get a little bit more of a... All right, so here's basically we're going to do this open A. Remember I talked about open power chords? So let me play the lick for you. That's the lick, okay? So don't pay attention to all the A's down there on the lower, the bottom, with the stems down notes, okay? I want you to pay attention to the upper one. Look what's happening to the upper notes. I've got this inverted power chord, this fourth, okay? And I do it at the 2nd fret, I do it at the 4th, I do it at the 5th. But in between, I've got this open A happening. So that's what you're going back and forth between those 3 positions. And then I add this open A in there. So you end up with this. You can even slide into that. Okay? Now, I know the low A's may be freaking you out a little bit. You're basically putting an A in between each of the upper notes, okay? So let's go real slow together. 1 and 2 and ready, go, and. I realize that might take a little bit of time for you to get the choreography of that out, but that's basically the lick. See if you can, those of you who can do it, let's go ahead and play it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, go. That sliding of these two notes, these double stops, which we're going to get to here in a minute. Also, the more technical name is dyads. But these double stops, two notes at the same time on adjacent strings. Now, take a look at the next example. Okay, this is top of page 7. In 1980, a couple years later, AC/DC came out with their song Back in Black. Okay, Rolling Stone magazine ranked it as number 29 on the top 100 guitar songs of all time. You can't be a guitar player and not know this riff. There's certain riff you need to know. So this is one of the ones. Okay, so this is an open E, an open D, an open A. Those are the three chords. You play them with me. An open E, an open D, an open A. Okay? Now we're going to hit one of the E, then 3 quick ones of the D, and then 3 quick ones of the A. Okay, so you play it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do it again, just that lick. Do it again. Oh. Do it again, practice the lick, and ready, go. Do it a lick again. Now, then you have this little... All right, what is that? Oh my goodness, Steve, what is that? That's got to be something completely complex. It's an E minor pentatonic scale done in reverse. Remember our... Well, if I didn't reverse... That's the first 4 notes. And then here, I'm going to put my second finger on the A, and I'm going to bend it up just slightly to the B flat. And then back down. And that's the lick. One more time. 3, 4, 1. Okay. One more time the lick. 2, 3, 4, 1. Now that may take a little bit of practicing to get that, but that's the lick. Now if you look in the next line down, it does our 3 chords again, and then we end up with this other lick at the end of that, the last measure, which is a B to a G sharp, then a B to an A, B to a B flat, then 2 Bs. So you end up with this 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. You could even play those high Bs up here. Maybe go back down into the E there. 1. All right, so let's do it together. Super slow. 1. Come on, get your rock and roll hats on here. You got to have a little bit of an attitude here. 1, 2, nice and slow, and ready, go. 2, here's the lick. Here's the lick. 2, 3. Do it again. Faster. 2, 3. There you go. All right, great lick, great lick. All right, now flip back to page 3. Okay, actually to page 2. This will be our last concept that I want you to try and get. Okay? Take a look at that where it says double stops on page 2. Double stops, the bottom of page 2. Now remember what we talked about. Double stops are 2 notes adjacent, usually on adjacent strings, played at the same time. Okay? Now, these can be played with power chords as we were doing. Okay, we were doing them with power chords, but they can also be done with pentatonic scales and other things that combine these fourths and fifths and things like that. All right, so take a look at the minor pentatonic scale there that I have written out, and this is in G. Okay, this is the bottom of page 2. So if I just played that off to the side, this G minor pentatonic scale, I end up with this. Okay, so that's the pattern. You play it with me, just make sure we get it. Okay, ready, start slow. We have first the 4th finger. 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3. First finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, 4th finger, 1st finger, 4th finger. It's a pattern. Look at the shape. Look at the shape on the page. It's like a puzzle piece. One side is completely straight. The other side has this kind of a sort of a shape. There you go. Okay. Now, what if I played both adjacent strings together in that shape? So if I did the 1st finger, I end up with these 2. Okay, well then if I go over to the other side and play those 2, I end up with that. Then I'm back over to the 1st side and I'm back to the straight line part of it. Then over here I bar my finger and I'm getting 2 notes there. So do you see what I'm doing? I'm just going through this scale, but I'm doing 2 notes, the adjacent note in the shape. And then this one, remember it goes through 4th finger there. Then we're back to 1st and have to bar back there. So we end up with this odd sounding sort of a shape. Steve, what good is that? Oh man, welcome to rock and roll. These double stops is what we do all the time in rock and roll. Hey, let me throw a little distortion on it, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. It's all those sort of double stops, okay? So do you see what the pattern, the concept of what I'm doing? It's based off of that simple pattern, and I'm doing adjacent strings, playing 2 at the same time. So you end up with a combination of these are 4ths and a couple of 3rds. That's a 3rd, that's a 4th, and they're all mixed in there. You end up with this really growly parallel 4ths sort of a thing. Okay, and so I have that written down there in that line of music that's down there. With that concept in mind, okay, look over at the next page. Power chord double stops and the money for nothing lick. Okay, remember this lick? Let me get my delay going. It's kind of a slap back delay. That's the thing. I think he does it from remember that old money for nothing Dire Straits lick from back in the 80s? Mark Knopfler using a finger picking, kind of a finger picking technique with that. So it starts off with this high power chord. I'm using the top part of it. Flatten my finger for the bar. And I end up with this. Remember that pattern that we just did? Okay. Going down to the open D, open G. It's all this really growly power chords. Even pulling off from it. B flat to the C. Okay, I'll play it one more time and then we got to get out of here. Nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little bit faster and one last time. One last time. There you go. Okay, power chords. Those are the most common power chord versions that I do in my professional playing. We've got the movable forms, we've got the open forms. I taught you several great licks that go along with this. That's all part of power chords. So what I need you to do is learn the forms, be able to play them, memorize them, and know how to move them around on the strings, and then start to incorporate them into your own playing. Since they don't have a third, you can substitute these for a minor or a major chord. So it may say G major on the chart, but I can play a G power chord if it's something that needs a little bit of power. There's some power chords. Learn all you can from it. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering, and we'll see you next time.